Hello everyone. My name is Nina, and I would like to share my story with you. My mother-in-law, Kino, was always the vain and shallow woman she is today. This transformation in her personality occurred later in life, or at least that is what my husband, James, believes. When James was just a 5-year-old boy, his father passed away, leaving Kino with the role of breadwinner of the family. He worked hard to provide for them, and they lived a simple but content life until James graduated from college and got a great job. James is an extraordinarily intelligent and humble man. He got a full scholarship to medical school and became a doctor. Despite all his success, James has never let himself get carried away. However, things began to change for Kino when she started looking for a more luxurious lifestyle. I should mention that I do not have a job, and there are personal reasons for that I will discuss later. But just because I am not employed does not mean I am poor or dependent on others. Unfortunately, when Kino and I first met, she judged me wrongly. Maybe it was the way I dressed or behaved. Something about me seemed to bother. On our first meeting, Kino turned to James and said, "Is this the girl you talked about? She is so plain and average. Why did you choose someone like her?" My name is Yuli, and yes, I do not have a job. But that does not define my worth. However, Kino quickly labeled me as a gold digger and a parasite, assuming I was with James only for his money. She made harsh and unfounded judgments about my character. James stood by me and defended me, but the argument with Kino quickly escalated, forcing us to leave. On the way home, James apologized for his mother's behavior. Admitting that she had crossed a line, he tried to comfort me by saying that his mom was not the same person she used to be, and asking me not to take her words seriously. Despite his comfort, I couldn't shake the feeling that being around Kino would be difficult. After all, she is the only parent James has left. I decided to take a step back and give Kino some space. Slowly cutting her off completely wasn't an option, especially since we don't have an extended family, but I knew that finding a way to coexist with her would be a challenge I had to face. "I won't force you to be friends with her," James said, "but you can at least try to be civil when you're around her." "I can be respectful towards your mom, James, but I doubt she'll do the same to me," I replied, feeling a mix of frustration and worry. "Don't worry, Yuli," he assured me. "I'll make sure I don't cross the line. If things get out of hand, we can talk about reducing contact. I love my mom, but I love you too, and I won't let her harass you for no reason." Despite James's assurances, I still felt uncomfortable with my relationship with Kino. Even though James promised to defend me, I couldn't shake the feeling that things wouldn't be that simple. James and I got married 2 years after we started dating. Due to financial restrictions, we opted for a small courthouse wedding. At the time, James was sending a significant amount of money to Kino every month, saying it was for emergency. Even after our marriage, he continued to send her money, which put a strain on our finances. I didn't object because I believed he had a right to support his mom. But it wasn't long before Kino became a real problem in our lives. She would often talk badly about me, gossiping to her friends and spreading rumors that I was after her fortune. At first, I tried to ignore it, but as the rumors began to affect my reputation, it became harder to get past them. Despite James' efforts to defend me, Kino never treated me kindly. She seemed convinced that I wasn't good enough for her son. Then one day, James came to me with some surprising news. "My mom wants to invite you to a small party she's throwing," he said. I immediately felt skeptical. "Why would she invite me when I know she dislikes me?" I asked, not hiding my doubts. James explained that she had promised him she was trying to improve and wanted me to be there. I know it seems weird, especially with her recent financial problems, but she assured me she managed to pull it off. Despite my worries, I agreed to attend the party. James was hopeful that his mom was making an effort, and I wanted to keep an open mind. I really wanted our relationship to improve and maybe even become friends. Although I had serious doubts about whether Kino would ever see me as anything more than an obstacle in her son's life. The next day, Kino sent me a text, and I assumed it was to formally invite me to the party. However, her text took an unexpected turn. We started talking about the party she planned to hold at a 5-star hotel that everyone was talking about. She seemed excited, promising her friends a fantastic time and planning to invite about 21 people. Curious about the details, I asked Kino if I was invited to the party, especially since James had assured me I was. To my surprise, Kino's response was full of arrogance and disdain. She made it very clear that I was not invited, highlighting how exclusive the event was due to her wealth, family status, and the supposed high class of her friends. I was shocked and confused. James had genuinely believed Kino intended to invite me, and now I was faced with this unexpected coldness. When I mentioned my assumption that I was invited, Kino responded with condescending remarks, insinuating that I wouldn't understand the complexities of organizing such an event. Despite feeling hurt, I decided to maintain my dignity and calmly replied, making it clear that I would not attend if I was not welcome. Kino reiterated her stance once again, emphasizing her class and status. I had a hard time resisting the urge to respond angrily. Disappointed and hurt, I decided not to share this incident with James. Instead, I decided to wait patiently for the day of the party. As the day of the party approached, Kino, oblivious to the emotional impact of her actions, sent me a picture. It showed her and her friends dressed in designer outfits, showing off their wealth and social media status. I chose not to respond. Instead, I focused on my work and waited patiently for what would happen next. After about 5 hours, I received a call from my dad. Here's a little confession. My dad is the owner of the same hotel where Kino was having her party. Without Kino knowing, 5 years ago, I inherited a considerable amount of money from my grandfather, which I wisely invested in my dad's business. As a result, I now receive a share of the profits from the hotel and other family businesses. Despite coming from a well-off family, I have always preferred to keep a low profile, which is why Kino had no idea of my background or the high cost of the 5-star hotel she chose for her party. During the party, Kino and her friends ordered freely, without worrying about the menu or the prices, resulting in a bill of 5,000 pesos. This turn of events presented the perfect opportunity for a little justice. My dad called me to inform me that Kino was at the hotel, shocked by the 5,000 pesos bill she had accumulated, and was now begging for a 60% discount, claiming that she was short on cash. What made the situation even more satisfying was that Kino and her friends had been rude and arrogant throughout the event, bothering the hotel staff. As expected, I shared my frustration with my dad, recounting how Kino had bragged about her party only to mock me for not being invited. The irony was not lost on me. There she was, showing off at a party that my dad couldn't even afford. My dad understood my frustration and also mentioned how difficult they had made things for the staff with their rude behavior. Seeing an opportunity for some poetic justice, I suggested a small act of revenge. I proposed that Kino and her friends should wash the dishes, clean the entire kitchen, and mop the floors as a consequence of their insulting behavior. I wanted to make sure that everyone who had mistreated the staff faced the same consequence, and if Kino tried to pull any stunts, my dad could always call the police. My dad laughed at the idea and gave it a big thumbs up. He even offered to send me pictures of the whole thing. The event seemed like the perfect opportunity to turn the situation around with Kino and teach her a lesson in humility and respect. Just thinking about it gave me a sense of satisfaction, knowing that she would finally face the consequences of her action. A little over an hour later, my dad sent me pictures of Kino and her friends washing dishes and scrubbing the floors at our restaurant. The pictures were priceless. My dad shared a funny twist to the story. When Kino saw him at the restaurant, she showed up, relieved, thinking that she was about to be rescued. She confidently told him that she knew the owner and that they could get out of the situation. But to her surprise, my dad instructed her to start cleaning up the restaurant. Kino was stunned and tried to protest, but my dad quickly reminded her that since she didn't consider me family, he didn't consider her family either. It was a hilarious turn of events, and I wish I could have been there to see it in person. Pictures were more than enough to brighten my day. A little while later, James came home looking visibly upset. I could tell that Kino had already contacted him, and had probably twisted the story to fit her narrative. As he approached me, he immediately questioned what he had heard. Something about my dad having his mom wash dishes at the restaurant. I calmly explained the situation to James, letting him know that what happened was standard practice for us in such scenarios. Kelly had gone to our family's restaurant, racked up a bill of 5,000 pesos, and then claimed that she only had 2,500 pesos to pay. She had also harassed the staff, and her entire party, been a disaster to handle. Under the circumstances, I believed the consequences were more than fair. James seemed shocked by this, and asked who had accompanied Kelly and what they had ordered. I informed him that she had brought 21 people, and they had ordered a lot, especially the most expensive items on the menu. He expressed disbelief, saying that Kelly had told him she was only taking 5 people, and that she had even invited me, but I had declined. I quickly clarified that things had not happened like that at all, and showed him the text messages Kelly had sent me, Wanting to fully understand the situation, James asked to see the invoices and the texts. I handed him my phone so he could read everything, and my dad also sent him copies of the invoices to better illustrate what had happened. I showed him pictures of the extravagant party Kelly had hosted. As James reviewed the evidence, anger grew. He immediately called Kelly to confront her, asking why she had not told him the full story. Kelly tried to downplay the situation by claiming she had only mentioned that she was short of money and accused me of twisting the story to sabotage her. James did not accept any of that. He pointed out that not only had she rejected my invitation, but she had also insulted me, saying I wasn't fancy enough for her. Kelly tried to brush it off as a harmless joke, but James didn't buy it. He pressed her on why she would spend thousands of dollars on a lavish party with friends, while simultaneously disrespecting his wife. Kelly was left stumbling over her words, trying to justify her actions, but James let it go. Of course, I was disappointed and shocked by her behavior. I couldn't believe she had spent 5,000 pesos on food and drinks while treating me with such disdain. I made a mistake by giving you money every time you asked for it, Mom, James said firmly. But guess what? I won't give you any more money ever again. Kelly, shocked, replied, But James, it's been so long. Can't you just stop now? It was a one-time mistake. Why are you exaggerating? No, Mom, I'm not exaggerating, James replied in a firm voice. This is not a one-time mistake. If you can't even consider my wife as family, I don't want anything to do with you. I kept waiting for you to change your mind, but you never did. I'm not going to pay you just so you can insult my wife and call her vulgar, especially when she has sacrificed so much to support you. This is over. With that, James ended the call and blocked Kelly's number. He turned to me with deep regret in his eyes and apologized profusely for getting angry with me without knowing the whole story. I forgave him because he stood by me in the end when it mattered. We had a serious conversation about Kelly and agreed that she would no longer be a part of our lives, at least for the time being. Even though James is now a wealthy man, he understands the importance of staying humble. He found Kelly's behavior completely unacceptable in the end, as it was directed towards me. I totally agreed it was unfair, and I was ready to cut her out of our lives forever. In the days that followed, Kelly's desperation grew. She realized that her actions could have permanently damaged her relationship with her son, driving her into a state of panic. She began showing up at our house, demanding to speak to James. Every time she was thrown out the door, her demands turned into pleas, and eventually, desperate begging. Despite having a job, Kelly's income was not enough to maintain the lavish lifestyle she had become accustomed to over the years. Now, with James cutting off financial support, she was struggling. Meanwhile, instead of continuing to support Kelly, James chose to invest some of his funds into my dad's business, helping him open new hotels and restaurants in the neighborhood. Kelly was left facing the consequences of her actions. Realizing too late that her behavior had cost her more than just money. It cost her the relationship with her son. We know all this because Kelly makes sure to keep us informed through emails. Of course, she still tries to minimize her past behavior, acting as if we were exaggerating and that she hasn't done anything wrong. But the reality is clear. Her actions have led her to this situation, and as a result, she will be out of our lives for the foreseeable future. A month ago, I found out that I am pregnant, and James and I couldn't be happier. This news has brought so much joy to our lives, and we are completely focused on preparing for the arrival of our little one. We have been busy planning every detail, from setting up the baby's nursery to making sure we have everything we need when the baby arrives. It's an exciting and busy time. We wouldn't have it any other way. Honestly, I'm relieved that our son won't be exposed to the negativity and shallowness that Kelly represents. As we prepare to welcome our baby into the world, I am determined to protect our son from any harmful influence, especially from someone who has shown so little respect for others. The time comes that Kelly tries to be a part of our child's life, I will make sure that she doesn't have the opportunity to fill our child's head with any nonsense or negativity. For now, we are focusing on being the best parents we can be, and making sure our child is born in a loving and supportive environment. We are expecting a healthy and happy baby, and are grateful for all the blessings we have received as we begin this new chapter in our lives. We kindly ask for your well wishes and support as we prepare to welcome our little one into the world.